Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? All good?
Yeah, I'm just plugging
Okay,
in my headphones
perfect.
because I should have done that. There we go.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Picnic Table Chat. We are at episode number 19 now, I believe. Tonight I have with me Chris from Antsrus. If you want to go ahead and introduce your buddy.
I'm Chris. I'm the owner of Antsrus, business I've been running for about over 5 years now. So I'm sure people will be familiar with me. Hello, everyone. I think it's lagging a bit, no? What's going on? I think it's all just about me today. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Feel free to just pop some questions my way and I'll try and answer them. No pressure, no pressure. LOL. Oh, wait.
Right. Hello, I am back. Hold. There we go. I'm the back. Sorry, I apologize. I'm having really bad internet issues. It says it's optimizing it at the moment.
Okay, cool.
What a nightmare. Right, I think there is a slight lag. It will sort itself out when it finishes that. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear Chris?
Yeah, I can definitely hear you.
Brilliant. Right, that's good enough. We can work with that. So I did hear you say, but for my own questions here. So when did you start ant keeping for yourself? And then when did you start the shop?
That's a very good question. I was probably like 6 or 7, really. I remember in my garden looking for ants as a child. I would keep them under my bed in containers.
Yeah.
One of my aunts once told me a story how they escaped one time and they were in like
Right.
a plastic container and they escaped. That's what she remembers.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't remember much of that. But I do remember one time I kept Lasius flavus,
Yeah.
probably when I was about 10, 11. And I remember for the first time ever seeing Lasius flavus, a worker, collect an egg from the queen. And that's
Nice.
one of the earliest memories I ever have of ant keeping and ants in general.
That's really cool. So a really long time you've been in it. Do you know what really sparked your interest to start with, or did you just always love it?
To be honest, by trade, I'm a scientist. I've done biomedical science at university. I've always been interested in nature from such a young age, not just ants, but other insects really as well. So I would spend a lot of time in my garden, a lot of time observing insects, ants as well. And I used to like breed insects. So I would breed like ladybirds and spiders and read a lot of books about them and how they breed. But for me, probably ants was probably the hardest to keep. So it probably interested me the most because I could never really get a colony going. I didn't fully understand them until I had to read more about them because obviously access to the internet wasn't as crazy as popular it is now when I was a lot younger. Do we have another lag? I mean, beetles and ants escaping are two different things now. It's pretty cool. Anyone else have any crazy stories? I think Tom's optimizing his stream, but you guys can just shoot me any questions you guys have and I'll be happy to answer. Looks like I'm solo once more. Does anyone want to hit me with any questions? Well, that's a good question, Ant Ramblings, in terms of ants that I keep. Obviously, because I run a shop, I probably have over 5,000 colonies, which is a lot, a lot, a lot. I did actually rest off. Yeah, that will be dispatched on Monday. How many species under one roof? Probably everything that's in the store at the moment. So it'll probably be like probably 20 plus at the moment. It's a good question again. Go on. Yeah, I'm just keeping them entertained while
Yeah,
you.
I'm so sorry about that. Right,
That's okay,
but we are
that's okay.
back now on a brand new internet connection, fully optimized. I'm almost crying here. It is that bad. It had to be tonight or all night. It always is, isn't it? Right. What have I missed? Let's go back.
I've been trying to answer some questions in the private chat.
Perfect. So what have we got through?
So the last one is ant ramblings. I think it's what my favorite species are.
Yeah, perfect.
That's quite a good question. From a European species, I think Mesobarbarus and Camponotus currentatus, because of the polymorphism, like the diversity within the worker castes, which I really like. And in terms of exotics, probably the coolest species I've ever kept is Marma ecostus mexicanus, which are the honeypot ants.
Yeah.
Which they're really amazing.
Yeah.
I am based in the UK. I'm based in London. Yeah.
Just catching it all up to it. Okay. So how many ant colonies do you own yourself?
I don't actually have any colonies currently because, but I have about 5,000 colonies that I take care of. So it's a full-time hard job, really. So that's how many I have.
Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah.
And it's just constant. My life is a lot of probably 10% posting orders, 90% changing test tubes and feeding ants. And yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask lots of questions about that later on in the stream, but we'll ask them now because we're talking about it. So do you change the test tubes yourself? Is that like
So
keep an eye on it?
I'm a bit OCD when it comes to those things. Sometimes I get my partner to do some of the work, but I prefer to do all that work. Like I'm happy to get my hands dirty in that sense, because I think it's important for me, and like in terms of quality control and making sure they come well presented and they're very healthy. So I'm quite conscious of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you have like a procedure that you follow before you send them out? Do you like put them in a new tube, then feed them, or what do you do?
Yeah, so say if we get exotics that come in, I would quarantine them. I would need to keep them at probably room temperature, so they acclimatize, and then I'll put them in a temperature heated environment. From there, before I dispatch them 24 hours, I would at least keep them at room temperature, for example. Basically in terms of that. And then obviously before dispatch of those ants, they'll be 24 hours at room temp before they go out.
Yeah, that's fair. So you say you get your partner involved as well. Does she help care? Like, because obviously feeding's a full-time job as well. If you've got like thousands of colonies.
Yeah. She does help with the feeding, but usually like I have everything in my head. Like I have it on rotation. So like I'll be feeding every day for a couple of hours a day, and then I'll rotate, do another couple of hours. So so everything's on rotation.
So it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job then, isn't it?
For me, the whole business is full-time. It's been full-time for me for about 5 years now. So I've only grown the collection, and I've only stocked more ants over time and kept more for longer.
Have you got any interesting stories to tell us? Like anything crazy?
I guess so. Probably at very beginning when I started selling exotics and keeping them, I've probably been stung by probably every ant that I've ever had that has stung me. Probably the worst for me is being stung by Diacama rugosa. It's painful. It's like a wasp sting. It's crazy. So I was a bit scared of them. So I always try to keep my distance and never get too close, so they can sting me. But like them and Harpagnaphos venator, I've been stung by fire ants like Solenopsis invicta, Myrmica rubra. So I don't know. Maybe I have a bit of an immunity for being stung, but I think over time it hurts less. Probably.
Yeah, I think you just get on with it more, don't you? I get stung all the time. I don't even notice it now.
Yeah. But Diacama rugosum are the
Yeah.
ones you want to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely. You see, I want the proper bullet ants, but if you get stung by them, you know about it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I will get them one day. There's a few species like that I plan to get one day, but
Yeah, it's
not
something
anytime
we're
soon.
actually looking to stock. Our bullet ants is something I'm working on, actually. Yeah,
Ooh,
so it's a project in the bag. Yeah.
If you do get them, you let me know, and I'll have a colony straight away.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah,
No experimenting. No experimenting.
No, of course, but this is like,
Hey, how's it going, guys?
One of my dream species, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, we've got loads of people in the chat at the moment. I am everyone who's putting questions in, I am putting them in to come back to in a minute, because we've got loads of questions that I want to work through first, but we will come back to all your questions. Welcome everybody, and welcome all the new faces that I've never met before. So hello,
I'm more than happy to answer like pretty much every question at the end anyway, so try not to worry too much.
Yeah, we'll be here for ages. Be it all night if it takes it. That's good. We like that. You know, we like that. I'm here most nights anyways, all night. I love it. Right, so we've done that. Then I'm just crossing things off. Have you got like an overall goal or message that comes with your ant shop?
Yeah, for me, like I think when I first purchased ants, I purchased from a big company in Germany. I didn't like the condition they arrived in to me, and the postage was very expensive. And I guess that kind of kickstarted my interest in saying, okay, there is a market for selling ants, but what would I like to be? What sort of company would I like to be, and how I would like to portray myself to others? And I think the element of our business is about customer service. I think that's the most important part. And it's putting ants on the map, really, which we have. We've helped change the, if you like, especially in the UK, is the whole myrmecology, and like putting ants on a map, getting people interested in ants would have never been able to access them. Like it was only by chance that I could access ants by being curious. But obviously not everyone has that opportunity, especially people that grow up in cities and urban areas, you know, and like giving them more access to nature and having nature in front of them so they can appreciate it.
That's incredible. Yeah, I like that a lot. I've always been really lucky to grow up in quite not urbanized. What's the word? I don't know. Unurbanized areas, you know. Grass areas. I grew up on Dartmoor and things like that. So I was really lucky. And I've always had that interest for what's going on the ground, and you know. But like you say, a lot of people don't get that opportunity to even go out into grass areas or see insects. I know some people have never even seen a real life cow. How mad is that?
Yeah. It's true. It's sad, but it's true. And also, like, I'm in London. A lot of people, I'm fortunate I live in a house, but a lot of people live in flats.
Yeah.
And they don't have access to a garden. They can't access nature.
Yeah. It is a real shame. So yeah, I think being able to send it into the household, that makes a massive difference, doesn't it? So the next question is quite a difficult one for you, to be honest. What is your favorite types of proteins to feed to your founding colonies or colonies that you're looking after?
So my favorite types. So I give a lot of if I'm not doing protein shakes that I have, or I'm giving I like mealworms. Mealworms are quite convenient for me. So the diets consist of mostly honey water, mealworms, and some protein shake. So that's what I would feed all colonies. Yeah.
Cool. Do you ever find that some colonies, they just refuse all food?
There's some, when they come to me, I find maybe they're a bit more stressed, so they wouldn't be up for eating, maybe, I find. And some species are reluctant to eat, especially when they exotic ants, certain species, especially the smaller species. But generally, like say Theodore species, they tend to eat more protein-based foods. The same with Solenopsis invicta as well. They're not keen on honey water or something similar.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I've been talking to a couple of people, and they've got founding colonies that they've been trying with mealworms and things like that, and they just can't get any food down them at all. I've said just try and like change it up a little bit. Try maybe a waxworm or a fruit fly. You know, if you're struggling, just try and see what else they'll take.
But also, I think a lot of people underestimate with smaller colonies. They don't actually need that much food.
No, they don't. They don't need much at all.
And I see a lot of people putting a lot of food out for them, which they're not going to eat. It's just going to go moldy or attract mites. It's best to do the bare minimum. For most small colonies, like half a mealworm every couple of days is enough.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard a lot about power feeding lately, and I agree with power feeding at a point, but I think it's best done when they're out of that founding stage. They're still young. You got to give them that time to like use what's in their social stomachs and not just keep filling the colony up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's basically overfeeding the colony to try and boost growth.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it can work to a point. If you've got loads and loads of ants, then they're not overfull, if you know what I mean. There's still space, but I don't know. I don't do it with my colonies. I occasionally might do like extra feed or so during the week, but I try not to feed them too much. Try and stick to a regime like yourself. It just makes it easier, doesn't it? So do you prefer larger ants or small ants yourself?
I prefer larger, to be honest. I find I guess a lot more access to like species like Camponotus, which have a lot of color variations, which I do like and I do enjoy. And I have a thing for obviously polymorphism. It's the different size workers, which it's very interesting to me. So it's like sometimes when I go on holiday to Spain, I would observe like Camponotus cruntatus, and like Mesobarbarus and other species. I think I observed Camponotus cruntatus in Spain before I actually stocked them, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. It looks amazing. How do I get this? Where is it from?
Yeah, they are really beautiful ants, actually. Really beautiful. That colony I've got is stunning. And actually, they've been like where I've had Camponotus before, they've always been quite slow. They're not like holding back. They come out on a daily basis. They're feeding, you know, they're doing their thing that I'd expect them to do. Yeah, I'm really excited about them.
Yeah, because their distribution is like sometimes North Africa, around those areas, and South Spain. So the climate is quite warm.
Yeah, I've got them in quite a warm area of the ant shelf, and it is quite warm at the minute. Like I think it's 26 degrees in here, which is quite warm for me.
Yeah, after yesterday it was a bit cold, no, with the storm.
Yeah, it's been freezing lately outside, and then it's weird because it'll warm up for like a couple of hours in the middle of the day, be too hot in the sun, and then it just drops freezing cold again.
Yeah.
But that is just what it is, and I think it's playing havoc with the insects. I keep saying it, like I'm sure my ant colonies have started getting more active earlier, and yeah, I just think it's playing havoc with the insects and the plant life as well.
Yeah, probably also with like autumn will end earlier, and like if I guess everyone could go back to summer this year with the nocturnal flights.
Yeah.
Regards to usually we would have like a few big flights, but we had a lot of mini flights. And
yeah,
that's
we
heavily
had
influenced by climate change, and we're getting the very hot temperatures or the very wet weather, and it makes it difficult for the ants to have those nocturnal flights.
Yeah, we did have like it was almost continuous, wasn't it? From early May, I think. I don't know. I can't even remember, but it just was non-stop last year. I had to stop myself because after the first one, I went nuts, and then it happened again. I was like, oh, I want to go again. And then I was walking, like I was in Southampton, like a completely different place to where I normally am. I was walking about. I was like, oh, there's ants everywhere. Oh yeah, I had to stop myself so much. I'm a nightmare for it. The thing is, I ended up with like 19 colonies at Lasius niger. It's like, whoops. But I found homes for them.
That's good. That's good. That's good. It's good to get as many people interested in ants as you can.
Yeah, that's it. Like I even put out a post that said, if anyone local to me wants to learn how to catch some ants, today's the day, and I'll take you out and we'll go catch some ants. You know,
that's cool.
Get as
cool.
many people into it as we can, and you know, kids love that sort of thing.
Of course.
Yeah. So do you have any other hobbies or other pets?
Hobbies, yeah. Let's start with that. So I like to play video games in my spare time. I'm quite a competitive Call of Duty Warzone player. I'm quite
Nice.
good. I also do a lot of exercise. So I probably exercise about 3 times a week. So today I just did a 7K run this
Nice.
afternoon. So
Well
yeah, so
done.
I'm quite into fitness and do I like to play like sports as well. Like badminton, football is quite my thing as well.
That's pretty cool. That is actually really cool. So what about pets? Do you have any other pets?
Well, at the moment, I don't. It's all ants. I had a dog a few years ago, but she passed away, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
then I haven't got. But maybe in a couple of years' time, when I'm finished the whole expansion of the ant business, then I'll consider getting more pets.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So what you would say, in your opinion, the most dangerous ant species you've ever kept? Dangerous, most painful, whatever you want to go about that.
Dangerous. Probably Solenopsis invicta for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. In terms of like if you look at the geographical distribution of them and their invasiveness, I would say they're one of the most dangerous ant species on the world. Probably
Yeah.
also yellow crazy ants. They're quite
Okay.
also pharaoh ants as well. They can be quite dangerous if they escape
Yeah.
in your household. They can easily become pests.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. My Polyrhacus dives have escaped many times. The wife doesn't like it. I don't mind too much because they don't do a lot. They get to the top of the tank and then they don't want to go. Well, to be honest, tonight they might because it's warm, but normally it's so cold in here they don't leave the top of the tank.
So they just stay in a warm area. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's normally if like the pump stopped working in the tank and it floods the substrate a bit, so they just evacuate.
Yeah,
which is fair enough. And like I've left the wire so that they can do that when they really want to. You know, it's like a show to me that I need to sort out the tank.
yeah, of course. Yeah, with them, obviously, people the formic acid from them as well is obviously you'll smell that a lot as well.
Yeah, you do smell it. I mean, I've never noticed them like Formica can really spray it, can't they? I've never noticed my dives be able to spray it. They more kind of smear it on things.
Yeah, I agree. But you can definitely notice from the smell.
Yeah,
The smell is very distinctive. It's like a vinegary smell.
Yeah, it's in the back of the throat, isn't it? You definitely smell it and feel it, taste it. But it's one of the things we love about ants. Have you got anything exciting coming to the store? You said that massive expansion. What's in the plans?
So in the plans is I'm currently in the process of doing a house renovation. So I'm just kind of doing that at the moment. So a workshop is the plan to start making nests, and yeah, that's the end goal. So that's in the plan for the start spring/summer. So I've just in my head I got all the plans, and I just need to get some guys in to start building really.
Brilliant,
and
brilliant.
Yeah, so that's it, and I'll start manufacturing the nests.
Are they going to be 3D printed or that stuff? Or
I don't want to give too much information away.
Worth a try.
Potential competition.
Of
but
course.
I have like a lot of ideas, so it will be. I would say it will be hybrid combination. That's all I can give you for now.
That's all we need. Yeah, no, that's really cool actually. So you'll be able to get your ants and your nests in one place.
Yeah, really exactly. Handy. That's the game plan.
Do you have like a premises at the minute? You said you're building a workshop. Where do you work out of? Is it just your house?
So yeah, I just work in my living room and in my bedroom, which is half an office really. So my aim is to have actually an office in my garden, which will be quite big, probably like 4 meters by 3 meters.
Okay,
and
yeah,
I would probably everything will be going from there.
Nice. So you'll actually have a set premises to work from. Is there anyone else as part of your team? You and your partner?
So she occasionally does the work, but it's been me full time. So yeah, that's it. That's all I need really, because I work really hard. So, and I'm very efficient.
No, that's the main thing. I think everyone in the chat has already said that you're always really good. Your packaging's amazing. your customer service is great, and so
Yeah,
on
and
and so
I
forth.
always
Yeah,
like to be responsive. Like I respond probably 7 days a week to
yeah,
messages. Like I don't leave messages for days to get back to people because I would know how it will feel if the same thing happened to me, you know? So I don't
yeah,
like to do that to other people.
yeah, definitely. The amount of times like I'm sat there panicking, like, oh, I need help. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
send
mm.
a quick message and actually get a response the same day, even quick. You know, makes a massive difference. Otherwise, you can end up doing some stupid mistakes. I tell you that.
Yeah, of course. And people, obviously, it's ant keeping's a learning process. It's a
Yeah,
learning curve, right? And
yeah,
like I make mistakes. I've made mistakes, and everyone has.
yeah.
It's just
We
normal,
all make mistakes. I say we're all students, and no one's a master of this. Definitely.
of course. But I think it's important within the ant keeping community to share knowledge. So
Yeah.
sometimes I get emails from people. I observe this behavior. What do you think and stuff like that? I'll give you an example, which was quite interesting. A customer messaged me and he was like, "Oh, diacamas seem to be herding crickets." I'm like, what do you
Okay.
mean? And then so they sent me a video, and they seem to have kept the crickets in the one area of the nest, but they haven't attacked them, and they haven't eaten them, which I found
Right.
really weird. And it was
Yeah.
just a weird observation of behavior. But maybe they were actually just keeping them alive until, because obviously if they
Until
kill them, it
later.
starts to decompose.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I did notice about diacama as well is I don't think they've got very large social stomachs. They don't eat it there. They'll process stuff and take it straight back to the nest or
Mm,
take the whole
mm.
carcass back.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think they've got very much social stomach.
Yeah, they're quite primitive in terms
Yeah.
of other species in the way they look, the way they
Yeah.
breed is very primitive.
Yeah, I love that word for them because I completely agree. They are a very primitive ant. They look like dinosaur ants, don't they?
Yeah,
They're like
yeah, of course.
they
Of
are
course.
old school, not all this newfangled ants. So is there anything that you feel is missing from the hobby?
Missing from the hobby. In what sense? What
Well,
what
I always say the connectivity between people. There's not enough stuff where we're meeting. There's this AntCon coming up.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good point. That's a good
yeah,
point. I agree. Like there's no host for an event for ant
yeah,
keepers to meet up. And
yeah,
obviously we have technology which changes our interactions with people, but I think it would be good to actually meet up,
yeah.
and like maybe it's something we can look at doing is like hosting an event.
Yeah. I mean,
We could look at.
Antix is doing
Yeah,
AntCon with Wakushi, and that's going to be a really good event. And
cool.
there is other things in the plan. I've spoken to a few people now which are planning different things, so I'll cue you in on that later.
Awesome,
I
awesome,
can't say it on stream. I'll
awesome.
get in so much trouble. But
Fair
yeah,
enough, fair enough.
it's one thing I've always thought is the connectivity isn't there. I mean, we've got these live streams. The whole reason I started these live streams is to basically give people the chance to chat for hours and hours with other ant keepers, and it works quite well, I think.
Yeah, like I would be happy to go to an ant convention and just to meet people and answer
Yeah,
questions. Like it's not a big deal. And
yeah,
like I like to help the community in the way any way I can, really, because it's obviously you guys as a whole that support me to do pretty much a dream job. So I'm always happy to give back.
yeah, definitely. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I'm hoping I'm going to fill a few of those gaps with my ant website, which gets released very soon as well. Just
Perfect.
like that connectivity and like a resource, a place to go to like find that information that's just not out there yet, you know?
Yeah, of course. And I feel like obviously with the connectivity with the Facebook groups and stuff like that, we've also managed to be like citizens of science, really,
Yeah,
in which we look at ants that haven't really been studied that much and we analyze their behavior in captivity, and which is amazing because
yeah,
obviously some scientists don't actually fully understand these species, and we have better understandings by
yeah,
observing them in captivity.
yeah. And I think some of the ant keepers I know definitely sit there and watch an ant, like their own ants, longer than some of the scientists will get paid
Yeah,
for.
of
You know,
course, of
they're sat
course,
there 24/7. Some of them.
of course.
Um, I've got a question. The web launches in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'll just quickly say that one. So what is your most sold ant? What do you sell the
uh
most of?
Probably Lasius niger is the most sold ant, which would probably be obvious. And probably then Mess or Barbarus, which are two quite popular species, and Lasius flavus. Those are probably your top three.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're the like standard three to go for, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. They're the go-to. And then usually once you get started on them, it's like the gateway drug, and then before you know it, you got 20 colonies.
32, but yeah. Yeah. We've got. I will show some ants at the end of the interview, Darth Vader. So, is there anything that you don't like to sell? You sold Solenopsis. Is there anything that you don't like to sell?
Sometimes we do get stock that's not the greatest quality. So sometimes it comes in and it's not in the best condition. So obviously I don't sell it. I can't sell it.
Yeah.
So those are the things that generally I just don't sell, and I just keep them back and look after them and see if they progress. And then I might put them on the website. I might not. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you ship to the EU?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So we use a TNT Express service. There's been a few issues recently with Spanish customs trying to put import taxes on. But everywhere else is fine. It's all about, because we left the EU, Brexit, everything's about tax and everything.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons we got asked to ask you, actually, is because of all the difficulties going on between it. Some people aren't now shipping either way.
So I am shipping to the EU. Like, there has been a few teething problems with Spain in particular, which I managed to sort out with my clients, and I was there to help them. Brilliant. And that was fixed this week, actually. It was 2 orders, but the rest were fine.
Good. So tell us about your environmental pledge.
So I'm big on the environment. Obviously, my background is science, and I'm a scientist by trade. I think it's important that as a community, we try and do as much as we can to reduce our carbon footprint. Yeah. So in terms of packaging, I try to minimalize it, make it as recyclable as possible. Because obviously you can stick a ton of leaflets, stick a ton of stuff inside a box, but at the end of the day, it's excess and it's a waste of packaging, and it's not great for the environment. So I try to streamline that process, and I try to use as much recycled material as I can, which is very important.
Yeah, that's really good. And is it biodegradable and it breaks down?
Yeah, so I use biodegradable bubble wrap, which is amazing. So it will break down in a couple of months if left in landfill.
Well, that is cool, because I heard some stuff like that ends up in the ocean and stuff like that. So being able to break down properly makes a big difference.
Yeah, because obviously packaging is a massive problem with the environment, and especially plastic packaging.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of plastic. I mean, plastic doesn't break down properly. It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, it could last for hundreds of years, really, hundreds of years.
Yeah, and it's not good. Like, I've been doing a lot of research into the oceans lately, and it's just not good for the oceans at all.
Yeah, mostly in regards to the oceans, a lot of it is actually ghost nets, a lot of fishing nets. Which
there's a lot of that,
80%. But obviously, people don't want to talk about that for various political reasons. But
we won't go into that on here then. Is there anything that you regret since you've set up your business? Anything that you thought, I wish I'd done that sooner, or I wish I hadn't done that quite that way?
Probably. I moved to Spain. I tried to run my business from there. It didn't work out, so I had to come back, and I had to run my business. I was going to expand into Spain, and it just didn't work out. And then I had to come back and go back and start from square one, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and that was probably one of my biggest regrets, but I wouldn't say it was a regret, because I still learned from it. I still learned from my experience. Like, obviously we all make mistakes. We're only human. And I think a part of being a human is making those mistakes and learning from them.
Yeah, definitely. I make mistakes all the time, constantly making mistakes. As everyone on my channel knows, I'm just always dropping stuff, or I can't even talk properly sometimes.
Or your stream lags out and I have to carry it for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm getting that sorted.
All right. I'll hold you to that.
Have you got any advice for new ant keepers?
I would say do research. Do research. You have access to the internet. You have Facebook groups. You have a lot of content that you can access. Like, for example, on my website, care sheets are free. They're available to everyone, even if you don't purchase anything from the site. Do a lot of research before you buy ants. They're not difficult to keep, but however, getting a good nest, getting from reliable suppliers, and getting and knowing how to look after them beforehand makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, it really does. I spend so long researching everything before I finally make a decision. Like, I get so many ideas, it would be insane to act on everything straight away because I'd end up in deep shit.
And also, I just want to add, like, obviously, queens can live over 20 years.
Yes.
Easy. So you have to bear that in mind, right?
Yeah, you got to pre-plan. Like I've said in the past, although I've got 32 ant colonies, I've pre-planned. I've got 2 shelves put to the side for every single ant colony that I've got. So even when they expand, I've still got enough room for them. Like, I've planned that from before I even buy them, you know. Yeah. Like you say, you've got to be prepared for that expansion.
Yeah. Also, one more thing as well.
Yeah.
I see sometimes people buy these expensive ants and they put them in a really cheap nest.
Yep.
Like, I think obviously, like, the nest, you should accommodate the kind of species that you buy to the kind of nest that you want. Like, obviously, certain species require more care. So it's good to invest in a good nest or build a good environment for them if you're going to spend that kind of money on an ant.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. I've definitely found that there's not one size fits all with ants. Every ant is kind of different. They thrive better in different environments. And it's something I've recently been doing is I've seen the ants which haven't done well over the last few months, or not done badly, but they're just not thriving in the way I want to. And I'm changing up their nests and seeing what they'd prefer and things like that. And a lot of them I'm just going to put in bioactive setups because I know I'm more confident in building that, if you know what I mean.
That makes sense. Yeah, and environment plays a massive role to the success of a colony. So obviously we offer the 14-day guarantee of the European ants if kept in the test tube, because that environment's controlled by us. But once they're out of that environment, we don't have no control over that. And a lot of times for customers that colonies have failed is because they have taken them out of the environment, and usually they haven't gave them clear access to water or food. Those are the 2 things, because like humans, they can only survive about 3 days without water.
Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed actually is the water consumption for some colonies can be surprising. When they get to a large stage, they drink loads, you know. And if you're not constantly refilling that and keeping on top of it, like you say, they can just die.
Exactly.
Really fast.
They always need access to water. They could survive weeks without food potentially. But with water is essential.
Yeah, I think, like you say, that is one thing that is misunderstood. I think people overfeed thinking they need to give more and more food, when actually they can get away with that prolonged period without feeding. And it's probably beneficial because then when you do, they're hungry for it and want it.
Yeah, like obviously a lot of species, especially European, they hibernate, right?
Yeah.
So they won't eat through that period of time. Yeah. And so as long as they have access to water, they'll survive.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive, really. I couldn't go that long without food.
I mean, probably none of us can, right?
Well, I know a few people which just they sit at a game and I swear they don't eat for weeks. They just drink Monster and survive on that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So your care sheets, do you come up with them yourself? Do you?
Yeah, so everything's written by me. I do spend a lot of time doing research and adding on from feedback that I get from customers as well. So a lot of that helps in terms of preparing the care sheets and improving them.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, your care sheets are always great. They're second to none. And like you say, you've got loads of them and they're just readily available on your website.
Yeah, for everyone to access, which is great. This is part of my giving back process, right? Just to give people access to information they can use for any colony, whether they're bought from me or not.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's brilliant. Are you planning on getting any new ants? Anything that you want to release or tell us about?
So yeah, probably in about like we had exotics in recently, but they sold out so quick, pretty much. Everyone keeps asking me about exotic ants at the moment. So yeah, we'll be back with them in about 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, in regards to winter, it's obviously quite cold now, so we're gonna wait,
Yeah,
and probably 6 to 8 weeks we'll have some more exotic ants for everyone.
yeah, brilliant. That's what we wanted to hear. Right, let's start to work our way through some of these questions that I've put to the side. What ants do you recommend for a child who is under 10?
I would say Lasis Niger would be
Yeah,
the one that I would recommend.
yeah, definitely. I've got my middle daughter has a colony of Lasius niger, and she does really, really well with them.
Yeah, they're very versatile and very resilient.
Yeah, yeah. She is going to move on to Mesobarbarus, I think we agreed on next. But
What
yeah,
an amazing species! Yeah,
yeah,
one of my favorites.
yeah. Again, she wants to move on to that slightly harder species. I say they are slightly harder because they are quite sensitive, can be quite slow in the founding stage. You know, she wants to
Yeah,
move
they
up
are.
slightly.
I think once you get them to their first workers, especially past 5 or 10, then they're good from there. Really, it's just the
Yeah,
founding stage is really hard for that species.
yeah, definitely. I found the same. I had a queen, and it was at least 6 or 8 months in the cupboard before she did anything. And then she had one worker. The second one appeared like 2 days later.
Yeah.
I gave them some seeds, and I put them back in the cupboard for a couple of weeks. Looked again, and there was like 30 workers, and it was
Wow.
yeah, job's done. Put them onto a little outworld thing. It was good. Um, we've got a question from Resaf. Chris, did you get an order
Yeah, I
for
did.
a
I did,
Lily
and that will
Inca?
be sent out Monday. Yeah, I got back to him. Yeah.
There you go. Hide that one. How many ants do you keep? Ant Ramblings asked that.
So I probably have over
Yeah,
about 5,000 colonies, really. So yeah, it's a lot.
more than me. I need
Yeah, a lot
5,000.
more than everyone probably.
Yeah. Do you ever feel scared at all when it comes to having insects in your house or picking them up?
No, I don't. For me, they rarely bite me, they rarely sting me, and I'm just so used to it. It's just second nature to me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I've got scorpions and all sorts, and my scorpion gets about an inch, about that far away from the top of his tank, and he can't quite reach out. But we'll see if he gets out one day. But it'll be great fun. We'll see. The
What
wife doesn't like
for
it.
the sting or for the claws?
Well, yeah. To be honest, they're not aggressive unless you're a threat to them. So
Okay.
if you don't try and like pick it up from the front, the
Mm.
best thing to do
Probably a
with a
tail,
scorpion.
no?
No, you don't even
No?
try and pick it up.
Really?
Right, so you get like a bucket and hold
Yeah.
it behind the scorpion, right, and then with your tweezers, kind of push.
Prod it along.
Yeah, and it will walk backwards as a defensive thing, and it will
Okay,
walk
okay.
backwards into the bucket or whatever you've got there. And it's actually a really easy, painless way of moving them, because I am planning on doing another bioactive setup soon and moving the scorpion into that one and out of his massive
Awesome.
tank, because he's got a massive tank and he comes out like once a fortnight at midnight.
Oh, so okay, to feed probably, no?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, which is fine. Like, he came out last night and I was stood there from 1 a.m. till nearly 3 a.m. waiting to get a proper video of him. And then he just went straight back in his burrow.
Did he get to eat or no?
No, he didn't even bother eating the roaches I threw in.
Oh wow.
It was just, it was
Maybe
ridiculous.
he's lonely. Maybe he needs a female.
We all need a female. yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. But I think like he's got a massive tank and he's not doing badly, but I think a different environment might do him a bit better and might see him a bit more. If not, I won't see him more, but he'll enjoy the environment better, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what it's all about for me, trying to find the best thing for them, make their
I guess
life
it's
enriched.
you could just trial and error, right? Trial and
Yeah,
error.
yeah, that's it. I mean, this was the first time I had ever kept a scorpion, and the tank's good. And I thought, oh, it's a big tank. It's going to love the space. It's going to need all the space. But in actual fact, a lot of the people I speak to keep them in much smaller containers than I've ever imagined myself doing.
What, for scorpions? Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
spiders kept in quite small containers as well.
Yeah. Spiders, scorpions. It's interesting because I'd always like to give them as much space as I possibly can, to roam about and do their thing. But you just don't need to, apparently. What have we got next? Just getting rid of all these questions. Right, here we go. Do you find that sprayers, ones which spray formic acid, are more annoying than ones which sting?
No, I think stingers are the most annoying ones, to be honest, because once they sting your hand, especially multiple times, it's a bit uncomfortable, at least for probably about 30 minutes, at least, maybe more.
Yeah. I find it gets really itchy as well. That's the
thing. Yeah, very itchy, red. But
Yeah.
I think your body develops an immunity to it. So your first sting to the last sting is different. The reaction's slightly different.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty much used to most of my ants stinging me now. My polyrachus don't ever try and spray me. They just bite at me, which is quite interesting. But
yeah, and they've got thorns on their thorax as well, which can prick you.
Yeah, they do. The beetles get bullied by them. Have you seen that before?
The beetles get bullied by what?
By the polyrachus dives in my tank here. Sorry, that was so random, wasn't it? So like I say, they have the ability to kill the beetles straight up easily, but they just kind of bite at them and say, bugger off, get away. And I think that's pretty much what they do with me. Like, they're not trying to kill me.
They just want their private time.
Yeah, they're literally just telling me to bugger off. So we've got millions of questions here. How much do you sell ants? How much do you sell the ants for? Do you on sales? I can't make sense of that, Roger. If you want to reword that one, feel free. Does anyone keep ants as pets? That's an interesting question. Does anyone here keep ants as pets?
It's probably everyone, pretty much everyone in the chat.
Yeah, I think quite a few of us keep ants as pets. We've got a question here from Japan. How much are Mesobarbarus?
It depends on the colony size. So probably about, at the moment, 5 to 10 workers are $14.99, I believe, and probably 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 workers are probably about $12.99, something like that.
Standard sort of price, isn't it? Yeah. Katie Newman has said ant merch would be good. Have you got much ant merch, or do you just sell ants? I know there is other products as well.
Yeah, obviously we have accessories. In terms of ant merch, I don't know, it seems a bit cliche to me.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what I feel.
You are right. I will admit there is merch coming from the ants on the rock.
But you're a streamer.
It's a bit different.
Like it's different. It's different.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
I think from a shop, it's a bit. I don't know how big is my ego. Like, I don't know. It seems silly.
See, my ego is massive, so that's fine. I do what I want.
I let you off because you're a streamer. You're not a shop. It's different.
Yeah, that's it. What's the 3 main things you do with the ants?
So me personally, obviously, feeding, taking care of them. I like to observe their behavior as well. So by observing, once I get new species in, new colonies, I can observe them and I can know how best to care for them as well by those observations, like their diet, for example. Like, I know certain species prefer protein compared to like honey water and stuff like that.
Yeah. What would you say is the easiest ant to care for and why?
I would say Lasius niger is the easiest to care for because they don't actually require that much feeding from the start. Obviously, they're fully claustral, so yeah, they're really easy to care for and they're really resilient.
Yeah, really, really easy. You can't really go wrong with them, I found. I'm just making sure I haven't missed any questions. Question from me there. Question from me. Your bio setups, are they specifically designed for ants or do you make them compatible with something like an aquarium? I'm a little bit confused by that, but I'm going to answer it the way I think I'm interpreting it. So my bioactive setups that I'm currently doing, I research what I'm going to get in them, what I've got in my mind. Then I'll plan out the environment. Then I'll research again if everything's going to work, cohabiting together. And I do tons and tons of research before I do absolutely anything. But I can pretty much do anything. I have done aquariums in the past. I've got a few other things that I'm not gonna tell you because I'm not gonna
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. They are big time spoilers as well. Like they're gonna blow everyone's minds. Just gonna be like, oh no, I didn't know I could do that. Like, it's not humanly possible. That sort of thing. But yeah. But yeah, so I can pretty much design anything. It's just the way I say it is you just got to do the research. You know, you could do it, I can do it, anyone can do it. You just got to put in the research first. All I did was before I did my multi-species tank, I researched everything for about a year, even down to like the plants I was putting in it, how to make the substrate, like how different people made different ponds. Things I didn't want to do, and you know, and I tried some really new innovative ideas with my pond that a lot of other people said that's not going to work. We've tried stuff like that; it's impossible, and I found a way to do it. So you just got to do research. You know what I mean? There's ways to do pretty much anything. Just going back down. So much chat. I'm just going to say another welcome to everybody.
Hey, hello everyone that just joined.
Yeah, there's loads of people here. If you've got any more questions, please do feel free to chuck them out now. Have you got any, like, what's the word? I'll just put out the question there. I can't even talk. Can you die or get very sick from a sting?
Yeah, of course. It's quite common in America for people to get stung by Solenopsis invicta and have an anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
So obviously it's just an allergic immunological reaction to the sting. Obviously it's rare, but there have been deaths associated with being stung from ants.
Yeah. And there is obviously the false ants, like cow killer ants and things like that. Yeah, but they're technically wasps, but I thought I'd still mention them because they can cause deaths in humans as well. We got asked a question a while back. If a fully unconscious, we're going to say dead body, whatever, landed on a big ant nest like Formica fusca or something like that, do you reckon they'd eat the whole body?
The whole body, probably not, but they'll probably have a go.
Yeah.
Probably be left maybe with bones if left long enough, maybe.
Yeah. So then you got to send in the isopods, and you got rid of it.
Well, I guess there is a whole nature's cleanup service, right? There's different stages of decay of all organisms. So everything, as long as it's in a wild environment, it will fully decay eventually.
Yeah. What would you say is an ant species that you have always wanted?
Probably for me, I would say honeypot ants, the Marmot ecostis mexicanus was one. Leafcutter ants, which we have saw previously. Like those are the sort of ones that you see on David Attenborough, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, I want to keep them. You know, I've never seen them before. They look amazing. The way they interact with their environment is amazing, and their survival strategies.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't stretch out to those ones. I got the European honeypots strictly because they're just, like you say, they're so cool to like watch, and like they do different things, don't they?
Yeah, like the whole social stomach
Yeah.
concept with those species is very cool. Like
Yeah,
holding liquids for months
yeah,
and
and
being the
it doesn't
size
go
of a
wrong.
barrel just to survive.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, I did a video yesterday. Wow, I did it yesterday. And that's my brain gone. And I did it live because I wanted to be there if anyone had any questions about what they do, and because they are such an interesting species. And I was trying to explain, they've got like, my ones have the small workers and they have repletes like you would expect, but they also have like miniature repletes, and they seem to be the ones which go and fill up on it and then go fill the repletes, and they're like halfway between, and it's really interesting, like
Wow,
all the different casts.
that's amazing. Yeah,
and I didn't know that. I thought there was just like the two different casts, workers and repletes,
of
but
course. Yeah.
there's definitely different stages of replete, and yeah, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, I find like Theodore, I would say the soldiers tend to be like almost like repletes,
Yeah,
and they store the food, and the workers just go and find the food.
yeah, no, that's cool. Have you got a favorite species to watch in the wild?
For me, from my personal experience, I would say probably Camponotus crurentatus. I remember going to Spain or watching Mesobarbarus. I also like to see Lacis flavus just before nuptial flights, because they spend most of their lives underground, and you only get to see them during that short period of time, which is really cool.
Yeah, you're right. I've got a huge Lacis flavus in my garden. I can pretty much look over the computer and see it. You're right. You'll never see them until like those couple of weeks, and the nest just explodes.
The mounds come out, right?
Yeah, and it's super cool. And I'm just like, no one go near that part of the garden, and it's right next to the steps as well. So it's like, you can't go up the garden. Just stay in the house. Stay in the house.
And, do you have Lasius niger there as well? Or?
Yeah, we've got. Believe it or not, they live literally next to each other, and they go.
Yeah, that's the same for me in my garden. Sometimes they'll fight occasionally, but nothing really. Only during the nuptial flights.
Yeah, exactly. When they're sort of excited in the nest. Yeah, which like all of us, when we get excited, we get a bit rowdy.
Yeah, of course, and obviously they occupy different habitats technically, right?
Yeah.
So they'll never fully come into contact with one another.
Yeah, which I've seen so many times that they cohabit to a point, but if you put them in a confined space, they will fight.
Yeah, and I've also observed in Spain, Mesobarbarus with Aphaenogaster.
Oh wow, really?
So they'll walk around their trails, but they're too quick for them, so they'll run away before they get close.
Yeah,
I feel like they probably scavenge from them. I haven't confirmed it, but from what I've observed, that they're really close together, which is unusual.
There has been quite a few observations like that in the wild, where like ants will sort of work together because there's no point in fighting. But it seems to be when there is that abundance of resources and no reason to fight,
Yeah, like obviously, I guess your project with Camponotus and Tomonothorax, which is like they all would occupy the same nests in the wild in some aspects.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's going to go well. It looks like it's going to go well. I'll say the acorns are doing well and the campos are doing well. So putting them together, I'm hoping it's going to go well. I can't see any problem for it so far.
Yeah, due to the size variations, I don't think they will be a threat to one another.
Yeah, I've only seen the acorn ants 4 times now, but they have been coming out and feeding, and I can just about spot them in the whole natural environment that I've set up for them. It's quite difficult because like they're about the size of a twig,
Yeah, and they tend to clump together, right? Space.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, tiny little nest space. I think the springtails that are in that are actually the same size as the ants.
Really? Wow.
Close enough. They look close enough, So Like many pets, people may decide that they no longer keep their ants. Do you rehome them?
Yeah, like we've worked on a few rehoming projects. We've also, if anyone can't take care of them, they just contact me and I make arrangements for them to rehouse their ants and
Yeah,
rehome them. I think that's important that if people can no longer care for them and uh, and the rehousing is an option, which you just reach out to the seller that sold you them and
yeah,
they should be able to accommodate you. Or if
yeah.
you can't find an alternative housing for them.
I think you're right there. Like, there should always be that service with every ant shop, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Not and also the aftercare, right?
Yeah,
For people, like I'm always there. Like once you buy a colony from me, that's it for life. You can just message me and I'll help you. I've even helped other people that have bought from other shops and they haven't had bad service. They've had bad service. They've once it's sold, that's it. No aftercare. Just read the care sheet or whatever. And I've just filled in the blanks for them. Just because I can.
yeah. How long do you know how long ants live for on average? I know some live 20, 30 years. Queens, we're talking about.
Yeah, but workers can live months to years. So
Yeah,
probably we're looking at probably 6 months to a year to up to like 5 years. But obviously in the wild, the conditions are completely different. Also, Nantics, their life expectancy is a lot shorter than the next generation of workers.
yeah,
So there is huge variation.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know, some of the workers I've had have had like weeks, if not just a couple of months, and that's their life. It can be really fast. I think it can depend on like the size of the ant and things like that.
Yeah,
I might
probably.
be wrong.
Yeah, it actually would be. So smaller ants would live shorter lives. So
Yeah,
there was I think, a research paper that looked into this. So obviously, there's less input in terms of energy into a small ant, but in
yeah,
terms of a bigger ant, there's a lot of energy input. So in evolution, they would the bigger ants would live longer on average than the smaller ants. So like a
yeah,
Camponotus crentatus worker would live longer than, say, a Theodore nodo worker.
yeah, yeah. What do you do if an ant dies inside of your test tube?
So usually I would say extract the ant with some tweezers and get it out of there. Really, that will be the best thing you can do.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. And would you do the same when it's in a full nest? Do you have any different procedure?
Yeah, I would say using tweezers to extract the ants will be a good thing. Like you want to minimize any potential disease and also mites, which is a big problem, which can be
Yeah,
for a lot of ant keepers.
yeah. So how long do you leave protein in, like after you fed them?
So probably I feed my ants, say, every certain species every 2 to 3 days. So I'll remove it probably on the fourth day.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
probably
fair.
like, yeah, 24 to 48 hours, if that.
Yeah, I tend to go about 48 hours,
Yeah.
um, just to be on the safe side. But to be fair, most of my big bioactive ones, I just chuck it in and I don't have to think about it again because it all
Because
gets
it just
processed.
naturally decays, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
whereas
exactly.
it's in a test tube, it's a different environment.
Yeah, yeah. All of my what I call man-made environments, I have to keep clean,
Of course, of course.
of course. Um, Darth Vader, what would you say is the hardest thing about looking after ants? Great customer service, by the way.
Thank you for your kind words, Darth Vader. I'm a big Star Wars fan myself.
Yeah, we
So
all are.
yeah.
We
So
quite
yeah.
often we go on to Star Wars and we're here for like hours just talking about Star Wars.
Oh,
So don't
really?
start
Really?
us.
All
Don't
right, let's
don't
not.
start.
Let's not. What would I say? The hardest thing about looking after ants is probably feeding and cleaning, because ants can be quite messy. Once they have the first few workers, they tend to be very messy,
Yes.
especially like the smaller species. I find they're quite messy.
I was going to say, do you find some species are worse than
Yes,
others?
tend to be smaller species. I would say they're quite messy.
Yeah, I found Mesobarbarus as well. Can just they stick stuff everywhere.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they destroy every settlement that you put them in, and it's just
Yeah,
just
they're
destroy
they
everything.
probably chew a lot, right? They probably chew.
They chew, they dig, they cause havoc. Yeah, they're brilliant. They're great ants, but absolutely
Well,
nightmares.
considering they crush seeds, you can expect it, right?
Yeah, that's another thing with Nikos. They just chew through absolutely everything. So many people get them and like put in a little plastic stopper or whatnot, turn around
And
like
eventually
overnight.
they're out. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even take long. Literally overnight, couple of days, and they're gone. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh
I
dear.
feel like they're probably one of the best beginner exotics to
Yeah,
keep. Actually, I would
yeah.
say.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you because they're so fast growing and they're quite hardy, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they are for an exotic ant. I would say they're one of the best.
Yeah. So, do you recommend ants for children under 10? And if so, what is the reason behind it?
So I would probably yes, but with parental guidance.
Yeah.
So like I would recommend they're kept with parental guidance. I would recommend a non-stinging ant, a non-biting ant like Lasius niger, Lasius flavus, but with parental guidance and adult supervision.
Yeah, my 7-year-old has been looking after her colony of Lasius niger since she was 6, but I pretty much do everything for her. She's just there and involved whilst I'm doing it. And she is starting to do a little bit more now. She's been watching me for a long time. She knows a lot about ants. She can sit here and stream with me. She knows so much. She's really good.
Yeah,
and it's
sorry.
not,
At the end of the day, they're a living insect, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you have to put their quality of life. They're a pet,
That's it.
So you have to put that first.
That's it. And I've got to that point with her now where I know her ethics are the same as mine. She knows enough, and I'm confident that she can do it. But I'll still be there going,
just in case,
like
paranoid.
Yeah. You know what? I can't step back from anything and just let her take over. But like you say, parental guidance and whatnot. But I think that's the best way to get into anything really, is with the guidance of someone that knows a little bit better, might have a bit more patience for it.
Yeah, and someone that can fully understand, read a care sheet, and look at, and like feeding a standard animal is similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that you got like, would you buy them a pet rabbit? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, here's a dog. You look after the dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, wouldn't get her a dog. Wouldn't get her a dog. What is the difference between keeping Lasius niger and Lasius flavus?
I find personally, Lasius flavus can tend to be more docile than Lasius niger. So I find Lasius niger are quite more aggressive. Eventually, when Lasius flavus reaches a certain colony size, they tend to be up there in terms of aggression. But I think generally Lasius flavus is a bit more docile than Lasius niger, for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the other differences is flavus spend most of their life underground, whereas
in the wild,
you'll see niger a lot more like activity on the surface. If an ant escaped from a test tube, what do you do? How do you pick them up without killing them?
So there's 2 ways. If you're really good with tweezers, you can use tweezers, but you have to be really good.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of practice, and I'm quite good actually of just doing that. But I would say your finger and your thumb, and gently pick them up just by the thorax if they're not polydives, and that way just gently. They have a strong exoskeleton. As long as you're gentle, you can just do that, and there will be no issues.
Yeah, the other way that I've done it is with cotton wool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just tap them with the cotton wool because they tend to stick to it, don't they?
Yeah,
and it doesn't hurt them. Just going through, making sure if anyone has any last questions, please do chuck them in now. Just going through the chat, making sure I have caught everything. Okay, Katie Newman, what made you choose ants and not something like fish?
Because ants are social insects. They work together to complete their objective and their goals, which makes them a lot more interesting to observe. Because like us as humans, we work together to complete our various goals and objectives, which I think it makes it more interesting for observation.
Fair enough. Well, there you go. I'll answer it as well. I've had fish, and I sort of moved away from the fish and wanted to do something else and something a bit different. I've had fish, I've had ants, I've had lots of different things, but now I'm just starting to get more what I've always wanted but never had the guts to keep. Before we go, what is the way that you get them to move from one test tube to another? Can you recommend someone a way?
So the best way, I guess, a lot of people wrap the test tube with some tape, put some light on the end of one side, which can encourage them, and put the other one in darkness. So obviously ants like dark and damp, right? So if they have a dark and damp environment, it should encourage them to move to the next test tube.
Yeah, it should do. What would you do if you're struggling? Have you ever get stuck? Lacey's Niger.
Get ants stuck?
No, like they refuse to move.
They refuse to move. So maybe I would maybe put them in a container, and then I'll transfer them manually, I guess, if they're really stubborn. Yeah,
fair enough. We've got another one here from Ant Keeping a Macro World. Formica I can't say that one. Yeah, you can all read it. It's on the screen. I can't pronounce it. You know that. Formica sangua colony in question, struggling to get them to eat much protein, despite now producing tons of brood. Any other options I can give them? Chris knows the colony.
Okay, so the fact that they've got tons of brood means they're actually taking in protein. I would say for sure, I don't think it's a big issue as you think it is, but I would recommend maybe trying something like cooked chicken, cooked ham, or trying different insect-based protein. But the fact that they have tons of brood alone indicates to me they're getting protein, and I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah. They'll take it as they need it as well. They're not going to let their larvae starve. I think that is about all of the questions. After the end of the stream, I will be staying online for a little bit to carry on chatting. You're more than welcome to stay on, Chris, if you want, or you're more than welcome to leave.
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on for about another 10-15 minutes. We can do that.
Yeah, that's cool. And it kind of a bit more relaxed than all these questions. We'll just have a little chat and see what everyone's up to. We've got loads of people in the stream at the minute. So is there any last questions before we end the interview and just go more relaxed? I think I've worked through all of my questions. Have you heard about the Ant Keeping Awards?
No, I haven't.
No,
what is that?
That's something I'm starting.
Ooh. Oh, really? Right, wow. Okay. So, wow.
Did you see that I put out a survey?
I did see the survey. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Right. So that survey is to try and get in as many ant shops in as many countries as I can possibly get. And then the top first, second, and thirds will basically give me their rating. So basically I'll be able to put a database together of all the ant shops in all the different countries where people will be able to go, I'm from New Zealand, where should I go? Ding, da, ding, da, ding, there.
Wow,
that's amazing. But it also means that I'll have the first, second, and third top-rated ant sellers of as many countries as I can. So I thought, why not turn it into an award ceremony where I can do that? And there's other data being gathered as well. There's already other data out there. So I thought a big award ceremony, send everyone a little certificate or whatever.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And would it update live the data in terms of the input and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like a once a year thing. But yeah, all the data will be
that's a good idea.
all the data will be kept up to date so that it's as good as I can possibly give. So, like you say, if you come to the website, it's just for information, a place to say, I've got this question.
I think probably there isn't enough of that, actually. There isn't enough of like a feedback process that's more independent.
Yeah. No, that's pretty much one of the be like, if you've got an issue, if you've got a question, I'm there, I'm there to help. But I found that, like, because this is currently broadcasting to YouTube and Twitch, and it goes to Spotify. And I found there's so many people on so many different platforms, but quite often people just don't mix properly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, within the platforms, probably.
Yeah. So I thought, like, if I just have a central website, we can all access the website, and everything that I can possibly imagine is going to be on there.
That's pretty amazing. That's a quite innovative idea, actually.
Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. But yeah, so the Ant Keeping Awards will be an annual thing. It will be international, and we'll be sending out certificates, and hopefully it will mean something, if you know what I mean. If you receive one of these awards, it's because you've been voted one
well,
of
I think it's good to have that recognition, and it's good to have that transparency, because obviously some people unfortunately buy from certain suppliers and it goes wrong, and they just get a bad customer service experience, and trying to make sure they get it right the first time would be very important. Because at the end of the day, it's your money, people work for it, and they should try and get the best possible experience they can.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, one of the things I'm trying to eliminate as well is the ant shops, which are more scams. It will be a lot harder to scam if this information is out there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been any recently. Has there?
Yeah, there has been. Like, I talked to lots of people all over the place, and quite a lot of people. Routinely it happens, people go and get scammed, and there's fake websites set up, and people promised ants in different countries which just don't receive them. So I just want to help as many people as I can set up like that.
That's quite sad, isn't it?
It is. It's really, really sad. I mean, over in some of the Asian countries, they've got a real sort of black market for it. And you can order one ant species, end up with something else entirely, or just end up with nothing. And it's normally you pay cash up front, and there's no like live guarantee, no nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't like that. I think if we can.
Yeah, that's awful. I think in the UK we're a lot more protected. We have a lot more shops than we had, say, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. Now, America is a massive problem because they can't send ants between states and things like that. So again, I thought if I can list like places, or they can't even sell ants in the state, I think. But
if they get a permit from a USDA,
that's it. So
it's
if we
just
can
not
get that
easy.
information,
it can be,
if we can start pointing people into the direction, then it just makes it a little bit easier. Because I know
by obviously getting a database that can also make a better customer experience, probably better prices for them as well. Which would be great.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm all about helping people, as we know. That's what it's all about. Just going through the chat. Lots and lots of people. Ants Canada. Yeah, Ants Canada does have a good system. He has the GAN farmers, doesn't he? But one thing I found about the GAN farmers is actually a lot of them aren't great.
Really?
Like, then it's hard to explain. I don't want to put a bad name on it, because they're all like, a lot of them try hard, a lot of them do what they say they're going to do, but the standard is very mixed. Like I was saying, you might turn up to a guy in a car park or a back alley
doing a deal.
It's that sort of thing. You know what I mean. And sometimes I have contacted the GAN thing, and I've come up with there was some actual ant stores were on there, so fair enough. Ones I recognised, and there was other things that I was just like, this seems a bit dodgy. I'm not up for this. And you know what I mean? It's a good system.
I get that. Yeah, and like I would always recommend, if people can buy from shops that have a good reputation, that people know about, like you asked, within the community. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I say, if I can get the people's word, we could say the people's opinions on it. Oh, I'm moving. That's better. Yeah, if I can get other people's opinions on it, because it's not like self-promotion, me saying, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way is to ask the customers that
Yeah.
actually buy the products
Yeah.
and use their experience with having a website that's independent from the retailers, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what I'm aiming to be. I mean, I already do the review videos on other people's YouTube. Have you seen that?
The product reviews?
No, I don't do product reviews anymore because everyone does product reviews. And I thought, well, I kind of don't want to do product reviews because if I'm going to review a product, I want to use it for like a good 6 months to a year before I talk about it. I want to know the ins and outs of it. I now review other people's videos.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is great fun. I mean,
so other people's product reviews. Is that it? Is that what you're doing?
Some of their reviews, it's more like the actual ant keeping videos.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I try and be nice.
Is there any conflict? Is there any conflict in no violence or?
No. I'm always nice about it.
Okay.
I was a
diplomatic.
little bit. Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed at the Ants Canada one where he attached the 8 tubes to one Outworld.
Oh, for different ants of the Campodotus, was it, or something?
Yeah, that was probably the only time I've really been like shocked and disappointed on screen. Apart from that, it's just been great fun, to be honest. It's been great fun to see how other people do it, share how I react and my thoughts on each video. I pause it and I'm like, I wouldn't do that, or you know, it's quite cool. But I like to take the piss a bit as well. It's just a bit of fun.
I see that you're quite steamrolling with the whole YouTube thing, huh? You're really going for it now. Which is good.
I am really enjoying it, actually. I never thought I would enjoy it in the way that I do, but I enjoy the community. I enjoy the streaming. It's great fun. It is great fun. And it's one of my passions is talking about my ants. Like, so many people at the gym are like, stop talking about ants.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, well, if I'm not doing gym stuff, I'm doing ant stuff, basically.
So you're like the Ant-Man?
Well, believe it or not, before I was called Ants on the Rock, I very nearly chose the ant athlete.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because obviously that's like what I do. Well, that's what I was doing full time before I started doing my ants and stuff. Literally, my life was
in my people know me as the Ant-Man. So
yeah, there you go.
Come meet the Ant-Man.
There you go. Do you tell everybody that you own an ant shop?
People ask. I'm like, it's good conversation starter. People are like, oh, so what do you do then? And I'm like, guess. No one's ever guessed it. No one's ever guessed it. Yeah. I mean, one time I was at a party. I remember this guy. It was like a what was it, Halloween party? This guy was so drunk. He came up to me and he was like, so what do you do then? And I replied, I was like, I sell ants. He was like, no, you effing don't. And he was talking to his friend. He was like, come here. This guy sells ants. And then she quickly dragged him away because he was making a scene. But brilliant. It really, it's a great conversation starter.
Yeah, no, I don't
and
doubt
people
that.
Are like, and the next follow-up question is like, well, what do people do with ants? Who keeps ants?
Yeah. Like, do many people do that? Like,
What? Why ants? What do they do with them? Pets. Like,
I get a lot of like the ones outside. Like, ants. You know, the ones that crawl. Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy how ignorant people are. It's still quite a niche. It's still quite a niche hobby.
It is, and it's really weird, isn't it? Because it shouldn't be.
No, it really shouldn't. But we have come a long way. I think we've got a lot of people interested in ants, which we wouldn't expect to be interested in without. Obviously, there's more accessibility, especially in the UK now, which is I'm really happy about.
Yeah. I mean, Ants Canada has done massive things for the hobby.
He was huge influence in the hobby in general.
Yeah. Which is good. I mean, we won't go into Ants Canada too much because he's a very touchy subject within the community. But I like his videos and I don't like his videos. I I like what he does for the community, but then I also get annoyed with the fact he doesn't participate in the community as well. I'd love to get him in on this because, as you can see, we've got loads of people here chatting, and they're all absolutely brilliant. And we don't ever hear from Ants Canada.
Yeah, like I think I've spoke to him like once about 5 or 6 years ago, but that's about it really. But but I think he does quite a lot of things, a lot of different things.
He's a very, very busy person. Like he does loads of different things. He's on telly and all sorts over there. But I have emailed him probably about 50,000 times about coming on the stream one day, but I'll never hear back. But like maybe if we really get thousands of subscribers in the future, he might come on. I don't know.
Opportunity. It's an opportunity for him. To be honest, you're probably the first guy to ask me to do an interview, to be honest.
Oh, well.
So it's obviously quite surprising that I haven't been asked. So,
I mean,
like I'm
there's
happy to.
There's not massive amounts of people doing this sort of thing. There is a couple of other stream podcast sort of things, but I don't think there's not anyone which really wants to bring everyone together. I'm just going to get everyone on here.
Yeah, that's the way I think it should be because, like, obviously we are behind the scenes, but we're still human beings, right?
Yeah.
So you can get to meet us and to know us as people, and hopefully we can attend events where we can meet you guys and speak to you guys as well.
Yeah, and there is going to be more and more events coming. Like I say, I've heard a lot of things from different people now that it's going to become bigger. You know, the hobby's growing. I like the way the hobby is going because I started when I was. How old was I? I can't even remember. I was young. I was like 12 or something when I got my first ants. And the ant nest that I had then was crap. Like it was a toy, quite honestly, but that was what was sold back then. There wasn't really.
And that was the norm, wasn't it?
That's it. And now, like, and the information that came with it was like, just go dig up a queen and do this and do that, and you don't need to feed them. And it was just the worst information ever. I've got to find that booklet because I've got it somewhere.
And there was like also probably just worker ants a lot of the time for a lot of people now. Yeah,
I only ever had workers because I never wanted to dig down and get the queen. But it was just like go out and catch some, stick them into a nest and watch them for 6 months, then do it again.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I did my whole ant keeping career up until I started buying. Well, I got my first queen last November, I think. And that's how fast my ant keeping career has really taken off. But obviously I've researched, I've known like about ants for many years now, been keeping Lasius niger in that one ant nest repetitively. But yeah, it's gone well. I've always loved it. It's been great fun. So many times, like when I was 18 and I got my first flat and everyone came round and we were gonna drink and have a good
observe
night.
Some ants.
Yeah, but no, that's it. Everyone came round and they were like, "What's this?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I have an ant farm." And they were like, "What do you mean you've got an ant?" I was like, "I've got my own flat now. You're going to see all my stuff. That's my ant farm. Don't go near it when you're drunk."
And how were they? How were they with that?
Yeah, they were all right actually. You'd be surprised. Like after a few drinks, they just sat there watching ants.
Wow. I think it can be quite therapeutic, actually.
It can be.
You just obviously just focus on them and observe their behavior and forget about all your problems almost, really.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I mean, I spent hours watching the ants. I'm going to swap it back to the multi-species tank in a minute because now it's not lagging. Everyone's going to want to see how many ants are kicking their butts of those waxworms. What would you both do for jobs if ants became extinct? This is going to be a last question, and then I'm going to let Chris go because I know he's got stuff
cool.
to do.
Probably, I would probably end up becoming a doctor. I would probably end up doing that.
Very cool, very cool. Well, I'm going to say I'd be an athlete because that's all I do.
Yeah.
I spend between probably 3 to 5 hours.
Time,
3 to 5 hours every day training for different stuff. I do strongman, boxing, and triathlon. So it takes up a lot of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm happy for the invite. And don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe to Ants on a Rock. And I'm happy to be here, and thank you for everyone's time and for coming to the stream.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on, Chris. We've really appreciated it, and we've appreciated being able to interrogate you deeply. Honestly, some of your answers have been really helpful and really great. We've thrown loads of questions at you. Yeah, you've been amazing. It's been great having you on and great fun. You're more than welcome to come on again soon. We do have a open mic night on the 16th of January.
Cool.
So February.
Yeah, just give me a heads up. Just drop me a message.
Yeah, so you're more than welcome to join me on that. And I shall let you go if you want to say a quick goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. Goodbye, especially Dino, and also Necrolord. See you later, guys. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. See you later, buddy.